How was fight camp for you?
Excellent. I'm not a guy who really just, I got to get camp or I got a certain amount of weeks or whatever going up to a guy. I'm just always staying active. I'm a martial artist, man. I'm always staying in the gym, always trying to better my craft. All of them, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, boxing, etc., learning something new and just upping my game, leveling up.
Well, it sounds like you're a guy that doesn't lack for motivation, but you also now have a huge carrot right in front of you. It's got to be good that knowing that after a certain amount of fights, the title is right there for the taking and $1 million. I mean, was this a little bit different going into this than your typical fight?
A little bit. I really like the tournament style and the Grand Prix format, and my coach really loved it too. This is all going to go down in a year. He told me, this favors me, and everyone knows that too. I'm a guy who's used to fighting 4 or 5 times a year. I have throughout my Bellator tenure, and this is something truly historical, epic, remarkable, and I'm excited to be a part of it and go out and win this whole thing.
And something that you have that a lot of the other guys don't have, but you have wins over some of the guys. You have a loss over at least one of the guys. Does that give you an edge, though, coming into this tournament, knowing that you've been in there with a couple guys, that they're not going to come out of left field with something crazy, but that you haven't experienced? Does that give you an edge going into this?
Absolutely, because after this Saturday night, I'm going to go out and get past the first round of this Grand Prix. The rest of these fights will be 5 rounds, and I know most of these guys that I faced already don't want to go 5 rounds with me. If 3 rounds was hard for them, imagine 5. Imagine that. So I'm excited, man. I'm ready. I knew I wanted. Obviously, it didn't go my way in Israel. I have a loss to Patricio Pitbull, close, tough fight. Obviously, he's a great fighter, great champion. But I wanted the rematch. Potentially, we could have that in this Grand Prix. But if not, what I want is the world title. So that's what I'm really hunting for. It's the only reason I got into the sport, and I want to be the undisputed featherweight world champion.
You come into the tournament, and your first draw is a guy that doesn't have as much experience, but he's coming in undefeated. Talk about Tywin a little bit. Break him down for me. Where is he dangerous, and what are you expecting him to bring to this fight?
He's young. He's hungry. He's a guy who wants to make a name for himself. He brings a lot to the table, which is good because I have a huge appetite, and I like to eat. So bring as much as you want because I'm going to bring it too. So that just makes for an exciting fight. It's going to make for fireworks. He's excited to go out there, showcase his skills, prove why he's the best, and I'm trying to go out and prove why I'm the best. And so that only makes for an exciting fight. It's the unstoppable force meets the immovable object. So we're going to see who's going to break. I've never been broken, and I'm not going to say this is his toughest test or he's my toughest test, but it's a tough test for both of us, and may the best man win.
I know you like to stand and bang, but I know you're also well-versed in going to the ground and when it gets in submission. But are there any keys to a victory that need to happen to make sure that you get your arm raised?
I just believe in flowing with the going with the flow. So wherever the fight takes place, man, I'm a chameleon, and I've had people compliment me on that wherever the fights takes place, I can win. So I'm not a point fighter by any means, but winning on the judge's eyes or winning rounds if I need to, round by round. But I'm always looking for the finish. So whether it be by knockout, TKO, submission, I want the stoppage. So that's what I'm looking to go out and do on Saturday night.
And speaking of flowing and going with the flow, you got a freestyle worked out when you get on the mic, you get that victory?
Oh yeah, absolutely. What you see is what you get, and what you haven't is even better yet. So I'm gonna show them all how a real G kicks off a Grand Prix. So it's time to shine.
Tell me the history, the story behind the freestyle. When did you get into that, and is it something that you've always liked?
It's gonna sound a little cliche, and people might think I'm a little soft, but I've always been into poetry. It came from an English class that I had. We actually had to write poems for extra credit, and English was hard for me, so a lot of times I would get motivation, or I would get inspiration from rappers, music, artists in general, and I would just try to make up my own throughout skateboarding, throughout girls, throughout my life, anything that just came up in my life, and I would write poems for extra credit, and that's what helped me pass that class. So Muhammad Ali is obviously another one. So you see McGregor right now doing as well too. Chael Sonnen is very well spoken, and my teammate CM Punk, who's helped me come up with some good ones too. But if not, I just music, man. Music helps, and it's just it gives us that rhythm, that beat, and that's what helps us be alive. live, right? Because without music, life would be pointless, be meaningless, right? So we all got our own tune and beat, what we like to listen to, what work out to, feel emotions to, etc. So it's just something that I love to do. You know, same thing applies to fighting.
And I think you would probably be hands down the most dangerous rap battle guy out there. Have you ever done any crazy stuff like that?
Oh yeah, like in high school or with friends or with people. I'm like, all right, let's hear what you got, kind of a deal. And you know, I like to do it also to make people laugh. So you hear a lot of guys, you know, who do that as well too. You know, like white rappers, and they say like rap is for only these kind of people, that certain kind of people, this style, that style, etc. Whatever. Man, anybody can rap. You know, I mean, Dr. Seuss is one of the greatest rappers in the world. So you know, I love Dr. Seuss books. He's amazing. So it doesn't matter, man. It's all about being able to get a rhyme, get a flow, and get people to laugh, smile, and just enjoy you. That's all.
I love it. And finally, I'm sure this fight has played out. The whole tournament's probably played out in your head. But looking on ahead to Saturday, how do you see this fight playing out on Saturday night?
For me, for sure, getting my hand raised, giving all the glory to God, and coming out healthy, injury-free. Likewise for my opponent. You know, I know he's got a big, bright future ahead of him. But right now it's a very dangerous time to be in there with me. And I'm excited to just go out there and looking for the stoppage of the first and second round by knockout or submission.